This is MikeBot. The day has finally come. I am now going to be doing a full setup, configuration, and demo of the new Anycubic Photon Mono M7 Max. Check out my previous video on the 1-minute unboxing. But other than that, let's get started. This printer is a beast. The dimensions of this thing are 425mm by 362mm by 652mm. It's a beast. Here's in comparison my M5S Pro. You can see the size difference is significant. The build volume on this thing is 298 by 164 by 300mm, so the build plate is huge. The entire thing weighs about 24 kilos, so it's not light. Make sure you have someone to help you lift this thing, or you need to be really strong to do it. There's a small touch screen at the front that you can see there. It's 4.3 inches diagonally, obviously. The print volume on this thing is 14.7 liters. And the actual LCD on the printer is a 13.6 inch 7K LCD. Now with that said, 7K doesn't sound like a lot, but keep in mind the XY resolution is 46 micrometers by 46 micrometers. This entire thing's like a single unibody design. It's aluminum, it's solid, it's a beast. There is a replaceable anti-scratch film on the LCD panel, which I will show you shortly. I believe it comes pre-installed with one out of the factory. As far as leveling goes, this does not have automatic leveling like all their other printers. This one is a manual leveling. It's a 4-point manual leveling system. I will be doing the leveling in this video. The actual build plate is actually a laser engraved aluminum alloy, so it's a pretty solid build plate, and I'll do another close-up shot of that shortly. The Resin VAT is a 1.3 liter unibody design with scale lines. And it also has the Resin Auto Fill, which is pretty cool. I've never had an autofill resin printer, so I'm kind of excited to test that out. On top of that, it has a resin temperature control, so between 20 to 40 degrees Celsius. It has resin auto recycling management, and it also has the Intelligent Release 2.0 precision control. It also features their new Light Turbo 3.0 high precision light source system. So what that means, basically your maximum print speed is 4 seconds per layer. The maximum layer height is 0.05 millimeters, which is incredibly fine. Has 8 user-friendly improvements, according to their website. Don't think that's just fluff marketing, to be honest. But other than that, let's just get started with this video. As you may or may not have noticed, I haven't done videos in a while. I've been busy with life, basically. But I'm slowly ramping back up to the videos. I'm slowly ramping back up, and I'm going to be doing a lot more videos. Now, first thing I want to point out is this is my giant ventilation system. In case you're wondering, it's a 1200 CFM ventilation for these resin printers. As you can see, I've taped some film around this. That's just my way of protecting the enclosure. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a messy, dirty enclosure like this, and you're going to have to end up buying a new one, which is very annoying. Basically, I picked up some of this stuff from Amazon for 15 bucks, wrapped it around, and I'll replace it as needed. It's $15 for 3 of these rolls. I'll put a link in the description. Now, one of the coolest things with this printer that I noticed right off the bat is the way it opens. This is really cool. As you saw with my M5S Pro, it's a bit of a bitch to kind of remove the lid on and off, so this is kind of cool. So right here, this is where the autofill resin device basically goes. There's a couple tubes in the back. You got your build plate holder here with a hanger. You have your VAT here. I will just show you that up close. So there's where the build plate hangs. There's the gigantic VAT. There's the auto refill station there. Here is the laser engraved or laser etched build plate. This thing is huge. And here is the leveling paper. So I'll get to that in just a minute. Now, one thing that's really different is they have the plug on the side here, which is nice. There's an exhaust fan here, a couple more fans in the back, and then there's this thing which I assume There's a little rubber thing that comes out of the port in the back here, which I assume is to exhaust additional fumes if you have a system like I do. So here's the rest of the stuff that came with the package. Just gotta close the Wash and Cure Max, which is apparently discontinued by Anycubic. 9 months old and it's discontinued. So you get some gloves, some filters. You get your little spatula, tools, USB key, the antenna for the Wi-Fi. You get another metal spatula here. Power cord, which I'm going to need in just a second. And then the Resin Auto Fill drain system right here. So first things first, I'm going to install the antenna, which is this little tiny thing here. So there's a little spot right here on the side. I will do a quick little close-up of it. So right here, and that's where the antenna goes. Definitely did not cheap out with this printer. Like, this thing is, well, a little plastic, but it's also steel as well. This printer is $900 US, and I guarantee you half of that cost is towards shipping. But otherwise, it's steel, so that's why the cost is so high. It's kind of worth it. The entire reason why I got this is so I can print bigger prints. As you can see, my little M5S Pro there has been great for me. It's paid for itself over 3 or 4 times now, but I needed something bigger. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and connect the power into this printer, and then I will get started with the setup process. All right, I had to cut the video there because the printer wasn't turning on. As I went to search for the manual, it turned on after a couple of minutes, which was weird. So right now, looking at the screen, it has the system language, so I'm going to choose English, next, and then it says, are you in global or China? So I'm global, next. And then it says initial setup on first launch. I'm going to click start. So now it says loosen the leveling screw. So now we're going to start the leveling process. So basically what I need to do is you need to take your build plate here and you need to loosen the screws on it. But before I do that, I'm going to remove the VAT. So 2 screws holding the VAT here. Unscrew them like so. Pull out gently. I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it out because easy. There we go. Look at the size of this thing. There's protective film on it. So I'm just gonna, I'll tear that off afterwards. Right, so there's a protective film on top of the screen here. So, ow, my head. So there's a little green tab here to take the protective film off the screen protector. So just remove it like so. Toss that out. And now onto the build platform. Before I remove the sticker, I want to loosen the screws for it. So you're gonna need the big Allen key here. And then you want to loosen the 4 screws there. Just loosen them, don't remove them. So there's 1, 2, I can already feel it loosening. 3 and 4. So now it's nice and loose. Figure out how to hang this thing without, basically you want to hang it here, loosen the top knob. I don't know why the platform is so damn low. Okay, now I forgot to actually remove the official seal on there. So now I'm going to slip this in gently and then tighten the upper knob here. So now we're going to need our leveling sheet, which is going to go under here. Now the only issue with this damn thing is I don't know why it's so low to the build plate. I'm going to say already released. There we go. Now I'm going to put my paper on here. So now it says calibration in progress. Calibrate Z-axis 0 point. Calibration complete. Please tighten the screws on the printing platform. How is that calibration complete already? I don't get it. I will do what it says on the screen, which I find strange, what it says to tighten these screws here. So I'm just going to tighten them. I will have to do a proper calibration afterwards because I don't trust what it's doing here. Unless they changed something recently. Okay, so I'm going to click complete calibration. Now it says setup successful, lift to feed to chute height, so I'm going to click OK. And while it does that, it's asking me to connect to my Wi-Fi, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to pause here because I got to go grab my phone, and then I'm going to log into the Anycubic app, link it to the printer, and then proceed. So I got my phone here. I'm just going to scan the QR code on the screen, and then I'm going to follow the steps on my phone. So basically all it did was take me to the app. It didn't do anything. So I'm going to hit add printer on the Anycubic app there. And I'm going to select the M7 Max. And then I'll click scan code. And it added my printer pretty quickly. That's different. I'm going to click complete, and printer is available. So now that everything's linked on the app, I'm just going to go to component status. Resin's not connected. Okay, so now I'm going to do the calibration. Leveling, I should say. So we'll do this again. I'm going to loosen the screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's pretty loose now. Got my paper here. So I'm going to click released. Now it's going to go down. And it's going to start the leveling, and then I'm going to tighten it. So that's the 4-point leveling there, what I was unscrewing. Going down slowly now. Let's see if I can zoom in there. Okay. So that's pretty tight on there. So now I'm going to tighten the screws. Basically what you're looking for here, you want this paper to be either super tight or not moving. And that's basically how easy leveling is with resin printers. So now I'm just going to hit complete leveling. Zoom the camera back out here. And then it says lift to feed chute height. Click OK. We'll put this aside. You're going to need it for the future if you need to re-level again. Alright, so now I want to run a quick exposure test to make sure the screen's working as it should be. Screen's a little dirty. I'm going to need a microfiber cloth or something here. Okay, so let's do an exposure test. So I'll just zoom back in here. And my protective screen is still on there. I'm not going to remove that. So basically, you have the Anycubic button, then you got like a settings type button. You want to click exposure. And I'm just going to do 10 seconds all around. I'm going to put my UV glasses on here. Safety first. And then I'm going to click start to do a 10-second UV exposure. Okay, now I'm going to do the second one just to make sure that's working. Everything looks good. Let's see if I can. Okay, and then I'm going to run one last test of the full screen for 10 seconds. Go back out here. Take the glasses off. Exposure looks good. Printer is leveled. Now for the next step. So now we can return the VAT. So before I return it, I want to remove the protective film on it. Break in the seal. Look at this thing. It's huge, and that's where the heating element is, I assume. So on the back of the printer here where the back goes, there's a couple little elements. Basically, that's what heats up the entire VAT. So I'm just going to screw the two knobs back in. It's in there nice and tight. Now for the final step. Now the final part is I'm going to just grab a brand new bottle of resin and throw in the auto fill tubes. Can't wait to run my first print test. Okay, so it's loosened. And what do I have here? Let's go with, no, not ABS like. I just want standard resin. I don't want any of the expensive stuff. What's this one here? beige. I don't want to use that. So I've decided to open up a brand new bottle of gray standard resin for this test. So I'm going to just give it a quick little shake here. I am gonna, what should I? And then I'm just going to use this to cut a couple little parts. Use gloves when you're doing this. Don't do what I'm doing. This is very stupid. And then I'm just going to screw that in there like that. And now we can connect it into the printer. Just put that down. So basically, the reason I put the printer here is because the tubes are right here. So those are the tubes that are going to go in. Basically, the big one goes in there, small one in here. This is hard to do with one hand, but that's okay. So it's going to go in there. And this one's going to go in here. That's basically air. Come on. And basically this part here goes in there. So basically now, I just want to go through the settings really quick here. So here we have storage, USB cloud. So by the way, this thing has Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and USB. Ethernet, I'm not sure is supported yet. It's supposed to be supported Q1 of 2025. We're January, like what, today, 13th? January 12th, 2025. So hopefully that'll be available soon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and connect the USB key it came with, because it's going to have some test files. And that just goes right here. USB, and there's all the files it came with. So under settings, we have the Z-axis, exposure, clear up, and other. I will come back to other in a second. Under the little logs here, you have print logs, device information, tells you basically all your typical settings. The version, looks like there's a new firmware update, which we'll do in a second. And then there's the guide, and then settings. So we got sound, storage, repair, format, about. That's under system. You got your language. And then you got your app connection and all that. So you don't really need to touch that for the most part, but I will do a firmware upgrade right now. And I'm going to do over the air upgrade. So click OK. Now one thing I want to mention, the screen is fairly responsive, unlike the M5S Pro. So they've done a good job improving that. So once this upgrade or update of the firmware is done, next I'm going to show you how to set up the heating, how we're going to fill the resin up, to test for leaks, and then I'm going to run a test print, and we'll go over the test print afterwards, and that'll be it for this video. So the firmware update was pretty quick. I want to say it was done in under a minute actually. So right now, back on the main screen, which is the Anycubic tab, you can see the component status, tells you the resin's connected, the VAT's been used 0 times, and it's leveled, tells you the temperature inside. So now we're going to go back to settings here, back to other, and then go to heated resin VAT. I just turned auto heating on. I'm going to turn that off for a sec. Come on. I want the temperature to be around 30 degrees. Feed, self-check. Self-check's all good. So feed and retrieval, that's what I want to do next. So let's open up this printer again. So what I want to do is I want to feed some resin into here to make sure there's no leaks. So I'm going to try to get a good shot here of that. So basically, as soon as I push the button, this here lowered. And now it's going to start pouring some resin out. Looks like it's leaking over the edge a little bit, but it's splashing everywhere. Not sure if that's normal. And they gave it a bit of a lip, so they thought that through. So basically I'm just gonna lift it out like this. And all clear. Now typically when you do this, you want to fill the VAT up when it's not on the printer. So you want to do your leak check by filling it manually yourself and then checking for leaks rather than take a stupid chance like I just did. Just gonna screw this back in and then we're gonna do a quick retrieval. So now, let's go retrieval. That's pretty cool. It says you can use the plastic scraper to assist, but I'm just gonna stop it here because I do want to do, ooh, that was weird. Okay, I'm just gonna stop here because I do want to do a test. So let's go to heating resin, have it set to 30, start auto heating. Oh, stop. I'm not gonna do that because that was gonna go in. Okay, let's just go ahead and skip right to a test print. So I'm going to do this test here. I want to go functions, intelligent release, automatic feed on, lift not on, and preheating. So basically I'm enabling everything for the test. And then I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to hit print. Okay, now it's starting the heating process. So I'm going to let it do its thing. Close that off, make sure my stuff didn't get caught here. Okay, and I will resume the video once the print is done. So basically, it's finished. I did a little quick tour of what it looks like. I drained all the resin in the vat, so now I'm going to take apart the model, and then we're going to wrap up this video. Just show you what the drained vat looks like, and there's the model again. With anything resin, safety first. Make sure you grab some gloves. So you unscrew the top here, pull out gently and up, and there it is. Pops off very easily. So now what I'm gonna do, so right here there's a little hook. Well, there's two hooks. Those are the hangers. So you just hang it there. And I'm doing that so I can just show you the next steps. As you can see in the model, it's pretty clean. No supports. Looks amazing. I'm going to go ahead and throw that into some IPA. So what I do is I typically keep a bucket of IPA here. I buy these buckets from Firehouse Subs. They're about $3 and I have a bunch of them. So I call this first stage the rinsing stage before it goes into my big Anycubic washing cure. So there's the IPA, and I'm just gonna rinse it off in here. Make sure just to get any excess resin out. In there. I'm just gonna let that drip dry for a second. So while that drip dries, I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna dunk it in my bucket. Just to give it a nice little rinse. So it's in my bucket there. The plate is huge and doesn't fit, so I might need to come up with a better solution down the road. Now you want to wear a mask when you're doing this as well, but I figured the mask might make it harder to talk in the video. So what I do is I usually keep a bunch of rags. I buy them in bulk from Costco. So I'm just going to take my rag here, wipe the plate down like so. Oh man, it stinks really bad. It's irritating my lungs and my throat. And then I'm going to let that dry in here. So now, I need to clean the bottom of this. So you see? All right. So what I do here, I keep IPA in a bottle, give it a little spray, pull that out actually, so I can show you all. And then I rinse it. Now they say typically you shouldn't put IPA on this because it's going to make it foggy, but I've been doing it since I've been printing with resin. And I like to make sure that's nice and clean. Now just to be safe, I'm going to hang this up here and secure it. Now I'm going to close this. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a few more sprays, and then I'm going to show you something cool that just came in. So this is what I mean by it's going to make it foggy when you use IPA. Now I haven't noticed it causes any difference in the print quality, but I don't know any other way to clean this. So if you know any better idea, make sure you post it in the comment section. So just to play it safe and I don't puncture this somehow, I'm going to put it back in here. Like that. Oh, and I spilled some resin apparently on the printer already. So I mentioned before that there's a little hole here. And I thought it was for some sort of ventilation system, but I remembered something very important. When I pre-ordered this printer, it came with two gifts. Two pre-order gifts. One of the gifts was an extra FEP film, which is right here. And then the other gift was this. And I'm 100% sure that's where that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up and install it. So you definitely don't need it, but it is nice to have. This one here is not like the M5S Pro, which is a heater and purifier. This one is just an air purifier. But I already have several of them in my workshop anyway. But this is just a little extra something.
The indoor air quality in your home recently changed the core.
And there's my air quality monitor telling me that the smell has gotten really bad in here. So it looks like two of these came in here. And then you get one USB cable to power it and extra charcoal filters. So there's one. I only need the one. And then I'm just going to open it. There's no charcoal filter, apparently. They probably stopped doing that because people don't know that there's usually a filter in here, and it's usually in there like this. So people end up using the charcoal filter without realizing it's still wrapped in plastic. So you just pop it in there like this, and then pop the cover back on like that. Power it on is just, the heck? Oh, apparently it's battery powered. But I am gonna just charge it just to be safe. I thought it had to be plugged in permanently. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and charge this because I didn't realize there was a battery in it. And then I'm gonna install it right here like that. What I might end up doing actually, because it's such a big unit, I think I'm gonna probably put one up here and then another one there. And I will probably leave this covered just so fumes don't escape. So I'm going to go ahead and charge both of these guys up. So while it charges, it just blinks red basically. So that's it. That's basically the overview of the printer and how it works. Now, one thing I noticed when I did my firmware update, I lost my clouds sync, so I'm just going to go ahead and reconfigure that. So here's my Wash and Cure Max station. I'm just going to straighten it out here. So that's the Wash and Cure Max. It's got a couple of containers there. I have a video on that on my channel as well, so make sure to check it out. So as you can see, the way this thing was designed, it's got a couple holes, which means it's hollow and liquid will leak out. So I'm I'm just gonna put it in here like that, and it fits perfectly. So from here I do this: Alexa, turn on wash and cure station. And that's turning on. Now I click wash and cure, but before I do that, I need to fill that container up with water. The other one has IPA in it, so I will do that portion shortly. For now, let's go back to the M7 Max, because that's what this video is about. So it looks like the cloud's still not connected, unfortunately. Hate it when it does this. You'd think they would have fixed this issue by now. Doesn't, then I will need to reset the network, which looks like I will need to do in this case. So annoying. Okay. So you need to go to settings, app, and then click reset. And now the network's been reset. So I'm going to go ahead and add my printer back to Wi-Fi. Oh, there we go. It's finally bound again. Ah, that was annoying. Okay, so my printer is back on my app now. So that's basically it. I'm not going to go through the Wash and Cure Max washing and curing. It's pretty straightforward. There's a video on it already. But that's it for the M7 Max. That's the initial setup, the demo, and the finished product, minus the washing and curing part, which you're not going to see much difference other than the resin's not going to be on it. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. It's greatly appreciated and my motivation to kind of keep doing these videos for everyone. But that's it for now. Look for another video or two coming on this series. MikeBot out.